Alrighty guys, what's up? It's me, Percy. So let's go ahead and get started. Before I saw that there was a mass comment of asking for tips on how to draw hands. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Hands were the devil for me growing up as an artist. I would purposely put the hands behind the characters' backs just so I didn't have to see the hands. But I am going to tell you, I did kind of overcome my fear of hands. I'm still deathly afraid of them, and I have a couple of tricks that could benefit you as a growing artist and to just show you how I get away with most of my hands and everything. So let's get started. The best tip that I can give you for hands is you have to figure out what position you want them in first. Like, you never know what position you want them in. And the best thing to do is look at your own hand and make sure when you're drawing your actual position of your hand, make sure you use the right hand when you actually draw it. Because if you do your left hand and here's my left hand and the pinky is on this side, so technically you're seeing like this or something, it's interesting. But just make sure you're always drawing the right hand. Not the right hand, but just the correct hand when drawing it. So make sure you always look at your hand for references. It's always the best idea. The best trick with drawing hands is to lightly skeleton sketch them. That's what I like to do. So for example, here is the back of a hand. This part, and this is basically a Dorito nacho chip, whatever. So then that's when you should go ahead and just make skeleton fingers like this. Okay, that is the best way that I can tell you this will help you through when drawing your hands. And that's when you go ahead and you fill it in and everything just like that. They are difficult and you do have to play with them a lot, but the best tip is to go ahead and draw them like skeleton hands almost. And I mean, a good piece of advice would to be, if you're kind of scared about how dark these lines are and you eventually want to erase them and everything, for one, always practice before you actually go into your actual final piece. But a best way to do is they have different types of lead pencils that you can buy from Michael's. A very light lead pencil is called 2H. So its lead's very light, and so everything's very lightly drawn on and everything. It just makes better sense and everything. And you just have to just lay them out. You have to play around with them, but the best way to start is with a skeleton hand. This looks like she's about to claw someone's eyes out or something like that. I'm not sure what's going on here. And then of course, it always leads down into a wrist, like that. Kind of looks like a zombie, reaching out. But the best trick, I'm going to teach you the best trick that I have always come up with. And if you follow me on Instagram, which I highly suggest, you can always see one trick that I use with my hands that I have been using since high school. When you look at hands, what do you see right now? You see my forefinger and my thumb, but that's all you see, right? You can't really see my other hand, but what if I were to just easily adjust my fingers like that, but you still can't see the entirety of my fingers, but you can see this part right here. This is my number one trick. Okay, here is Red Riding Hood. She's a new piece I just did. As you can see, if you look at her hand, you see how I just did the forefinger, the middle finger, and then the thumb, and then a couple lines on top, and here are the fingers at the bottom. It's my number one trick when you're drawing people. If they're strolling, or if they're princesses or something and they're doing this and everything, you see how you can barely see the other fingers? All you have to do is you draw. Start again. All you have to do is you draw the forefinger, your pointer finger, like this. Okay? And then what you do is you come around and you make your thumb like this. And of course we got this big gap right here, so that's what I just drew right there. And that's when I come around, I come back, and I go into the formation of my wrist. Now, this is good. Now, if you were just to do this, somebody would be like, well, where are their other fingers? Okay, this is where you come in, where you just lightly draw the middle finger, like this. Make a little bit of indentation like that. That's when you can come underneath, and here's your ring finger, and here's your pinky. Just like that. That is my ultimate secret, and I just taught you that ultimate trick, because I honestly do hate drawing hands. So you will see most of my characters have this, just like that. I mean, even on my Alice in Wonderland doodle sketch, whatever it is, the galaxy one, her hands are like this, you know. So that is one of my #1 tricks when to drawing a hand like this. It's easy. You include all the fingers. It shows a little bit of dimension, and you know, it's just fun and good to use on your hands. So you could even do this on both hands. Like you could come out to the side. This could be, of course, this is your right hand over here, and of course I could come over and just make it again. Like, here's my thumb. I start out with my forefinger. You just gotta play with it. Always play with it. I mean, I could even bring down my middle finger to here and to here and to here, and then of course I can bring up the middle finger right here, make sure it leads into each other and it lines up with the fingers like that. And you could even go on top, show a little bit of the top ring finger, just like that. And this is a good basis. Like if you use this technique I just taught you, then it'll definitely help you even with drawing like real hands and everything. Because even if you were to use my skeleton technique, what I just did, so we have, this is my side of my hand, here's my skeleton. Sometimes it's easier to maybe even color it in. That's why I always suggest to have a lighter pencil or practice before you are about to do your final piece. Make sure you always practice different positions of hands and everything. Another trick that I still use, I'm actually admitting to this, is to hide hands, just like that. Red is obviously grasping her Red Riding Hood, so her Red Riding Hood, I don't know, but I always show like they're grasping something or grabbing anything. Recent Rapunzel sketch, if you look at her hands, she is grasping, she is holding her hair here, and she's also grasping a piece of her dress. Now the trick with this kind of hand, I always, honestly, always start off with the skeleton, like palm, and then that's on top. I make this kind of a triangle shape on top, and then of course the thumb comes off to the side, and then I fill it in like that. And of course, when you do this, when you're actually grabbing something, you are showing a bit of dimension like this. So there's always this line, which is the knuckle line. And when you're coloring, this of course will be darker, and it'll be dark off to the side because it is grasping something and it's showing a little bit more dimension, that the light is hitting this more than this part. So that's always an easy thing to do. Once again, it is the Dorito chip. And of course, I make a little bit of a nice, like, of a nice little triangle on top, and make the thumb, and then I fill in, I divide it up into 4 fingers, of course, just like that. And then you come in, you fill it in just a little bit more, give her some fingertips, fingernails. It happens with all of them, okay? And it's really about just, you know, I mean, honestly, this is a person. I just made a person crying. The number one trick that I can teach you about hands when drawing, like it's in everything that I use so far. Hands are very difficult. It has taken me years. I'm still trying to figure them out. Usually this doesn't always work, and usually I throw away pieces of art just because I have messed up so horribly on the hands. It's impossible to fix. And sometimes I just start all over and everything. What did benefit me was I did have an amazing costume designer professor last year. He made us draw our actual hands about 3 times a week, and we had to turn in a weekly sketchbook. So that was really beneficial to me because I got to draw these different versions of my hands, and it helped me like understand the hand formations a little bit more and being able to sketch them. But my number one advice is to sketch your hand. I mean, if you have to do this, if you don't want to do it, then just jump on like Google and look for like Disney princesses' hands and look at the different formations that they have them in. You will see them mostly in this formation or this formation, or like I said, they are grasping onto their actual dress. That is the number one thing you will most likely see with princesses. I suggest that you sketch these hands out with a 2H pencil, or you just sketch them out with, maybe you have a blue concept pencil and you want to sketch them out. I really highly suggest that you sketch and practice hands. They are very hard and they're one of the most difficult body parts, but we use them, they're there. Well guys, I hope this was helpful. This is my number one trick. They're fantastic. I love making hands these ways, and if you go through my Instagram, you can go on there and comment, hey, I see what you did with the hands there. So you understand now. But yes, I really hope this was helpful. I'm more than willing to help with more of these tip tutorials. I enjoy these a lot, just being able to give you a little bit of my advice. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you all. Bye!